Imagine a place that tells a story spanning centuries.
Where culture and nature intertwine to create something truly extraordinary.
That's the inherent beauty of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. I'm Abigail.
And I'm Keith.
And this is Global Treasures, the podcast that covers the history, travel tips, and legends surrounding one of the 1,223 World Heritage Sites each episode.
These places have been identified as having universal cultural or natural significance
that is so exceptional that it transcends national boundaries and is of importance to present and future generations.
Welcome to Season 2, where we're going to explore the 45 sites that UNESCO added in 1979.
In this episode, Keith and I will be introducing you to Kathmandu Valley, located in the country of Nepal. Nestled in the foothills of the majestic Himalayas, the Kathmandu Valley is a geographical wonder that has shaped the culture and history of Nepal for millennia. Imagine, if you will, a vast bowl cradled by 5 mountain ranges, its lowest point resting at 1,425 meters, or 4,675 feet above sea level, while the surrounding peaks reach up to 2,762 meters, or 9,062 feet.
This is a place where ancient traditions blend seamlessly with breathtaking natural beauty. What is the Kathmandu Valley? Well, imagine a vast, fertile valley cradled in the lap of the Himalayas, dotted with ancient cities, ornate temples, and bustling marketplaces.
This natural fortress, spanning 220 square miles, is divided into 3 districts: Kathmandu, Lalitpur, and Bhaktapur. At its heart flows the sacred Bagmati River, a lifeline that has nourished civilizations for centuries. The valley's unique geography has not only protected it from invaders, but also created a microclimate that has allowed a rich tapestry of cultures to flourish.
This valley is home to 7 groups of monuments and buildings that showcase the full range of historic and artistic achievements that have made the Kathmandu Valley world famous. At the heart of this UNESCO World Heritage Sites are 3 awe-inspiring Durbar squares: Kathmandu, Patan, and Bhaktapur. These royal squares, with their intricate palaces, courtyards, and temples, serve as living museums of Nepalese art and architecture. But the valley's cultural tapestry doesn't end there. It also includes 2 of the most sacred Buddhist stupas in the region, Swayambhu and Buddhanath, as well as 2 revered Hindu temples, Parshupatinath and Shanga Narayan.
What makes the Kathmandu Valley truly unique is how it embodies the coexistence of Hinduism and Buddhism, 2 of the world's great religions. This spiritual harmony is reflected in the valley's architecture and daily life, creating a cultural landscape that's both diverse and unified. Now, let's talk about the architecture that makes this place so special. The Kathmandu Valley is a treasure trove of architectural marvels, each telling a story of the region's rich history and spiritual devotion.
The architecture of the Durbar squares is a testament to the artistic genius of the Noor people, the historical inhabitants of the valley. These squares feature an array of temples, palaces, and public squares that showcase a distinctive blend of Hindu and Buddhist elements. You'll find pagoda-style temples with their multiple tiered roofs, shikara-style temples with their soaring spires, and the unique Narauri style that combines elements of both. Take the Yanatapola temple in Bhaktapur, for instance. This 5-story pagoda is a masterpiece of Nepali architecture, with each level symbolizing the 5 basic elements of nature. Its perfectly proportioned tiers seem to reach for the sky, a stunning example of the vertical emphasis in Nepalese temple architecture.
The Buddhist stupas of Swayambhu and Buddhanath offer a different architectural experience. These massive, dome-shaped structures are not just impressive in size, but also in their symbolic design. The dome represents the entire universe, while the 13 tiers of the spire symbolize the 13 steps to enlightenment. The all-seeing eyes of the Buddha, painted on all 4 sides of the spire, gaze out in every direction, reminding visitors of the omnipresent nature of Buddhist teachings.
On the Hindu side, the Pashupatinath temple complex showcases classic Nepalese architecture with its 2-tiered golden roof and silver doors. The intricate wood carvings and metalwork that adorn these structures are an absolute testament to the incredible craftsmanship of these Nepalese artisans. And one cannot talk about the architecture of Kathmandu Valley without mentioning the unique urban fabric of its cities. In places like Batan, you'll find courtyards adorned with chaitiyas, Buddhist shrines that serve as constant reminders of the teachings of Buddha.
Kathmandu Valley really has evolved over centuries, absorbing influences from various dynasties and neighboring cultures, yet maintaining its distinct Nepalese character. From the early Licchavi period to the Malla dynasty and beyond, each era has left its mark on the valley's architectural landscape.
Now, let's take a journey through time. The history of Kathmandu Valley is as layered and complex as the terrain itself. Our story begins around 300 BC with the earliest known artifacts that we've found in the valley. But it's not until 185 BC that we find the first inscriptions, tangible evidence of the earliest history of the people that settled this valley. The valley's recorded history starts in earnest during the Licchavi period, around the 4th century CE. This era saw the emergence of Buddhism in the valley, with legend holding that Karamati, a daughter of the great Mauryan Emperor Ashoka, erected 4 stupas around the city of Batan. These structures would become the cornerstones of the valley's Buddhist heritage. As we move into the 7th century, we see the valley flourishing under Licchavi rule. In 723 CE, Raja Gunamedeva founded Kathmandu, setting the stage for centuries of artistic and architectural achievements. The Licchavi period left an indelible mark on the valley's culture, with Sanskrit's literature, art, and architecture reaching new heights.
The medieval period ushered in the Malla dynasty, which ruled from the 12th to the 18th century. This was truly a golden age for the Kathmandu Valley. The period between 1500 and 1800 CE was particularly significant, marking the zenith of Nepalese art and architecture. During this time, the unique cultural traditions of the Norse, the historical inhabitants of the valley, reached their peak.
Under Malla rule, the valley was divided into 3 separate kingdoms, Kathmandu, Batan, and Bhaktapur. This division, while politically complex, sparked almost a creative rivalry that resulted in the construction of magnificent palaces and temples in each city. The Durbar squares we admire today are largely the product of this era of artistic competition. But the winds of change were blowing. In 1768, the Gurkha forces of Prithvi Narayanan Shah conquered Kathmandu, unifying Nepal, but forever changing the political landscape of the valley. This marked the beginning of the Shah dynasty and the end of Malla rule.
The 19th century brought both progress and turmoil. In 1846, the Kot massacre led to the rise of the Rana dynasty, who became the de facto rulers of Nepal while keeping the Shah kings as figureheads. The Ranas left their mark on the valley's architecture, building grand neoclassical palaces that stand in stark contrast to the traditional Noor style.
As we enter the 20th century, we see the valley continuing to evolve. There was a devastating earthquake in 1934 that reshaped much of the urban landscape, destroying many of the ancient buildings, but also spurring efforts to preserve and restore the valley's architectural heritage. The mid-20th century brought significant political changes. In 1951, the Rana regime was overthrown, and the Shah kings once again took direct control. This period saw rapid modernization and urbanization of the valley, sometimes at the cost of its traditional character.
A pivotal moment came in 1979 when the Kathmandu Valley was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, marking a new era of conservation and global recognition. This status highlighted the valley's exceptional cultural value and spurred efforts to preserve its unique heritage.
Recent history has brought both challenges and opportunities. The Nepalese Civil War from 1996 to 2006 and the abolition of the monarchy in 2008 led to dramatic political instability, but also opened new chapters in the valley's long history. Another devastating earthquake in 2015 once again tested the resilience of the valley's people and, of course, of its ancient monuments.
Today, Kathmandu Valley stands as a vibrant testament to its long and complex history. It's a place where ancient traditions coexist with modern development, where timeless monuments stand alongside bustling markets and contemporary buildings. As we walk its streets and admire its temples, we're not just seeing static relics of the past, but living history that continues to shape the present and future of Nepal.
As we've journeyed through the rich tapestry of the Kathmandu Valley's history, from ancient legends to modern challenges, you might find yourself, as I am, itching to experience this remarkable place firsthand. After all, there's nothing quite like standing in the shadow of a centuries-old temple or wandering through bustling medieval squares to truly appreciate the depth of history and the culture we've just explored. But visiting a place as complex and multifaceted as the Kathmandu Valley requires some insider knowledge ahead of time. I mean, how do you navigate this blend of ancient and modern? What are the must-see sites that will bring our historical narrative to life? And how can you experience the culture, not just its monuments? So let's dive into the practical details of visiting this beautiful valley, from tips on the best times to visit, to guidance on respectful temple etiquette, to even suggestions for experiencing the valley's famous festivals. Abigail's got you covered just like every time. So let's dig into learning about how to visit this remarkable UNESCO World Heritage Site.
If you're coming in from another country, you'll want to fly into Tribhuvan International Airport. I personally would not recommend getting a rental car to get around because the roads throughout the country can be quite rough, although I will note the country is working on building out the road system. So for those of you traveling here in the future, it might be a different story. But for now, you may want to ask your hotel if they have recommendations for licensed taxi companies, as Nepal doesn't have a lot of the usual rideshare apps like in Europe or North America. In terms of getting tickets, I would suggest taking one of the UNESCO guided tours that takes you to many of the Kathmandu Valley sites, including the Golden Temple, Kathmandu Durbar Square, and the Patan Museum. The sites are spread out, and navigating getting to all of them can be a bit tricky, so having someone who speaks the language coordinate entry fees, transportation to each site, and all of the other pieces is probably worth the money. I also would recommend booking these tours far in advance whenever possible too.
So I'm imagining there's also a lot of other things to do besides just the World Heritage Sites. What are some other things that people can kind of like put together with this trip?
Oh, like other things to bundle? Well, if you're feeling brave, you can take a beautiful cable car ride up through the mountains. This is definitely not a recommended excursion if you're afraid of heights, though. These gondolas take you up more than 8,000 feet, but you are guaranteed to get some incredible pictures. And honestly, this is just a really picturesque country, so photographers are going to have a field day when traveling here. Speaking of brave, many also try to attempt to climb Mount Everest while in Nepal. Just know that you can't actually drive to the Nepalese side of Everest, so you'd have to get there by helicopter. But again, I would bet the ride is gorgeous and worth it just for the views, even though it is not cheap. This is also a prime place to hike even if you don't make it to Everest proper.
So this is a place where many people want to visit. And I'm sure people are wondering if there are options for a place to stay outside of the major chain hotels, which I'm sure are in the city. So what other options did you dig up?
Oh yes, plenty of choices. So beyond the major chain hotels, there are 5-star hotels that are not related to a chain. There are hostels, there are homestay options that are relatively inexpensive, so you'll be fine.
So I'm sure that the language that is spoken in Nepal is Nepali, but I'm curious if you can get by with any other languages for the basics. So what other languages might be useful in this case?
Yes, Nepali is the official language. English may be spoken in some touristy areas, but I honestly wouldn't count on it. I would recommend having a translation app in your phone. Also, I want to share some general travel tips. In terms of safety, bring bug spray and water purification tablets or bottled water. Otherwise, you may want to boil water before consuming it when you're there to prevent illness. And please do not buy bottled water off of the street either. It could be an empty bottle that's just been refilled with tap water.
Yeah, these are all good timeless tips. Now, can we talk about the food? I did a little bit of research into this as I was researching for the other sections, and I have to be honest, I'm pretty excited about it. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, the food really does sound great. The standout dishes to try include dalbit, which is rice and cooked lentils, usually seasoned with onion, garlic, cumin, and maybe turmeric. Another dish is momo, which are steamed dumplings filled with meat, potatoes, other vegetables, and local cheeses. Oh, and along the same lines, I should have mentioned this before when talking about other things to do in the area. I saw a host of cooking classes, which surprised me. So you can book those if that's something you'd like to do while visiting. They seem to be very popular.
In my humble opinion, nothing gets you closer to the culture than cooking food with locals. All right, so I bet this is a prime place that's full of legends and paranormal activity, given the incredible, unique history. So this is your section. What'd you dig up this time?
Primarily, my research kept bringing me back to the legend of the Yeti. This may not surprise some of you. This is an ape-like creature that supposedly resides in the Himalayas and is the equivalent to the Bigfoot legend we have here in the United States. He's sometimes referred to as the abominable snowman. Many have reported sightings with few pieces of physical evidence like photos or videos. So, the Yeti is usually described as being 7 to 8 feet tall with white hair, sometimes brown. Sightings started all the way back in the early 1830s with trekkers and naturalists who claimed to have seen a big hairy creature, though, again, many thought it was just an ape. Reports skyrocketed as Westerners attempted to hike the area with new, safer equipment becoming more affordable for the masses. Even Sir Edmund Hillary, the first climber to reach the summit of Mount Everest, went up to the Himalayas in the early 1960s to try to find evidence that the Yeti exists.
So for those of us who are a bit skeptical of the paranormal Yeti Bigfoot stuff, what could be the scientific explanation?
Well, most believe the Yeti is just a bear. The Tibetan blue bear, for example, is quite rare, and they're gigantic. However, the Yeti has made his mark all over popular culture nonetheless, from horror movies to being selected as the mascot for Nepal's 2020 advertising campaign. So again, whether or not he's real, people love him. I mean, he's adorable, and he certainly captured our imagination.
So as I was researching the history, I kept coming across this legend about how the valley used to be a lake and was emptied of water way back in history at the dawn of the civilization of this valley. This just kept popping up when I was doing my research, and it looked like there was a million different versions of it. What'd you find out about this?
Yeah, you're right. That's an important one, so I'll try to distill this in a nutshell because there are many different versions, as with any legend. So, supposedly, the Valley of Kathmandu was previously a lake whose surface was covered in lotuses, which are better known as water lilies. According to legend, Baduseva Manjushri saw a flame shoot out of one of the water lilies. He was curious and wanted to get a better look. He took his sword of wisdom and cut a gorge near Chobar Hill, just southwest of Kathmandu. The water from the lake emptied out, bringing into existence the valley of Kathmandu as we know it today. The lotus that shot out the flame turned into the Sway Ambu Anath Stupa, which is a shrine that is considered to be sacred to Buddhists. However, according to some versions of the story, Lord Krishna was actually the one who cut his way through the gorge with not a sword, but a thunderbolt, and resultingly emptied the water that deluged the Kathmandu Valley.
Okay, so let's end by talking about what's being done to protect Kathmandu. Is it considered to be endangered by UNESCO? So many of these sites we talk about need some major attention.
Right on. Well, I already established before that the roads need some work, so they need to work on the infrastructure. But from 2003 to 2007, Kathmandu Valley was listed as endangered by UNESCO. Major factors for that include the impactful earthquakes the country experiences, which aren't man-made, unlike many of the issues we've talked about in other episodes. Thankfully, the earthquake-damaged monuments were restored, and staff used this as a means to learn how to better protect the site for the future. Air transport infrastructure does affect Kathmandu Valley as well. So the government of Nepal wants to extend Kathmandu International Airport, but that would negatively impact the site due to increased air pollution from emissions from the planes and excessive noise. Anyone who's ever lived near an airport can likely attest to that. So all of this will have to continue to be monitored. That being said, I'm so excited to visit this site. Thank you for listening to the Global Treasures podcast. If you would like to support the show, you can subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on YouTube and TikTok.
So if you've enjoyed our journey through the mystical Kathmandu Valley, we'd both be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to leave us a 5-star written review. Your feedback not only helps fellow cultural enthusiasts discover our show, but also fuels our passion for showcasing these extraordinary UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Whether it's a brief comment or a detailed reflection, each review contributes to our mission of preserving and celebrating our shared global heritage.
We're deeply appreciative of all of our listeners who help spread the word about these incredible landmarks and the rich tapestry of stories they hold.
Now, get ready to trade your city shoes for hiking boots as we prepare for our next adventure. We're heading north into the vast wilderness of Glen, Wrangell St. Elias, Glacier Bay, Tatsarshini El Sec, straddling the border of Canada and the United States. This awe-inspiring region is home to some of the world's most spectacular landscapes, featuring massive ice fields, rugged mountains, and pristine forests. From the largest non-polar ice field in the world to North America's highest peak, we'll explore a realm where nature reigns supreme and the raw power of glacial forces shape the land. Until then, keep your spirit of adventure alive and your curiosity for our planet's wonders burning bright. The next chapter in our global exploration of Earth's most magnificent natural treasures awaits.